Hey guys, it's Fantasy King back again to you again with another video. And let's just say bye rounds are finally over. Oh my god, I just hate those bye rounds and they're finally complete. I am so ecstatic at the moment. You do not understand. This week was just as terrible as the last, to be quite honest, but the only good thing about this round is that a lot of people done the same with me as what they did. I'll show you my team. As you can see, I got 1573, which ain't a big score at all. But I went up 660 spots. My round 15 rank was 14,661. So, it wasn't too bad. As you can see, I'll go to my season history. It was a lot better than last round, actually, to be quite honest. I mean, 200 more points. But here was my team. I put Tom Mitchell captain, and that was a -3 for me. Even though Logan Austin was one in contention as well, and Mason Cox. What a weak score from him. But the +3 out of all of this, because look at all those -3s from my team. I mean, there's just so much bad scores. But the +3 is Lockie Hunter and You Beauty. I mean, Bulldogs caused an upset against Sydney Swans. As you can see, Hunter had a mammoth score. Boyd had a huge score. But Suckling, I brought him in that week, and that's terrible. I mean, he's inconsistent, don't get me wrong. He's always been, but 46... Come on. And then Josh Dunkley, who didn't play, who I am going to trade next week. I'll show you my trades now, and yeah, I didn't have a good week, but this will ensure me of having a good week again, back to my season best. I put out Sam Kerridge and Daniel Curry, because Sam Kerridge has definitely maxed out his price, in my opinion, and Daniel Curry, he won't play another game till at least the end of the season. And I put Reece Mathieson in. He's still at a very cheap price. He's not too late to get yet, and I reckon he could go up to 320 grand. And Stephen Martin back in because he has pretty easy lucks for the rest of the year. I mean, he doesn't have a really favourable rock this week. I mean, he is against Carlton, I think, but no, he's up against Gold Coast. So they have kind of weak ruckman, but he was on shape of scoring 100 last time they played until he got knocked out. So I traded him in. I think he'll have a good game. So. And it also makes my structure of my team a lot better. Now, we'll start off with the defence this week with Heath Shaw. He's been out of form. He's been up and down the past 5 weeks, but I hope he does good this week. Matthew Boyd, he is the most consistent player in the competition, in my opinion. He hasn't scored a game less than 90, and since he's up against Richmond, he should score over 100 again this week. Cade Simpson, not much I need to say about him. He is up against the hardest scoring team in the competition. So I'm hoping he scores at least 90. I mean, I bought him in a few weeks ago, and I'm pretty happy with the trade. Bernie Vince, who I also bought in last week, had a very, very weak score. I could have bought in Rory Laird, but Bernie Vince he never kicked it to himself. And it really irritated me. He's up against Fremantle this week, so I'm hoping he gets a better score. He was up against Adelaide, which is kind of understandable. Matt Suckling against Richmond. He should improve from last week. If he doesn't, he's one of the players on the chopping block, to be honest. And Tom Ruggles is my D6, one of my only rookies in my team. They're up against Sydney, so another hard team to score against. I'm not expecting much from him. But I think he'll score more than Collins. Anyways, he's more consistent than Collins, who is on the bench. Collins does get high scores. As you can see, his highest is 97 and his lowest is 44. I think his last game he scored 80. But, he's just a good cash cow in your team. Logan Austin, he is weak. So, don't put him on your field. His best option would be put him on bench cover. even though even that's not very much of a good option. Like, I put him in after he got 70 or something, but ever since then I think he's got 30 and 2 tens. It's ridiculous. Like, tens, in the tens, the high tens, that's awful. Even for a fullback. As you can see, not much I can say about Dangerfield. Really consistent. He'll get about 115. Tom Welcliffe, who was actually my vice captain this week, he'll score very high, unless if he gets injured again. I would expect 130 from him. Lockie Hunter, I don't expect too much from him this week actually, but I think he'll still score 100. Tom Mitchell, I don't think he'll score 100. I reckon he will go below there once again. Hasn't been in best form lately. Jordan Lewis against Port, I think he's on a good record against them, but you know, he could slide considering it is at the Fortress, or so they call it. Even though I tipped Port in that game, surprisingly. Mitch Duncan, I don't think I expect much from him anymore. I think he'll average in the high 80s to the low 90s for the rest of the season, but he has been good for me when it comes to price and value. Christian Petrarca, who I am getting rid of in a few weeks' time, is up against Fremantle, and I hope he scores well there. And Reece Mathieson, who I put in up against Gold Coast, and I reckon he'll score good again this week. And I was in a toss-up between him and Ryan Davis, but the only thing is Davis hasn't been in good form lately. He did score 70s in the past few weeks, and then, you know, kind of dropped. I think he's kind of maxed out his price, and I am trading him next week. Josh Dunkley, you know, also I think he's maxed out his price. I'm going to trade him as soon as I can. My rucks, not much I can need to say here, but I've got Gawn captain up against Fremantle, who have no ruck. They're going to struggle in their ruck, the Dockers. So I reckon Gawn will absolutely dominate. Stephen Martin, who I also think he'll get 100, is up against Gold Coast. He'll be good for price and team value. Let's go to the forward line. Zach Merritt, there's not much I can say about him. He's up against St Kilda, he should get 100. Likewise with Dustin Martin, despite the tough opposition, but he'll get at least 90. He's very consistent. Aaron Hall, who should get 110 at least in this game, because he is up against a very, very easy opposition, and you know, he's back up in his form. Robbie Gray, who, you know, has kind of had an up and down season. I don't think Hawthorn is one of his strong points when it comes to scoring, but I'm hoping for at least a consistent good score. Lee Montagnier out of form, but I hope he improves against Essendon, who are arguably the worst competition this season. And Lance Franklin, who, you know, scored really well last week, one of my +3 contenders, but I don't think he'll do much here against Geelong, since they have a very good defence. I forgot to mention my ruck bench with Mason Cox. Don't think he'll go up much more in price. I'm going to try and get rid of him. And Trent West, who won't play another game this season, I would think. Tom Phillips, he's been a good cash cow, but he didn't have a good game against Carlton, and don't be surprised if he gets dropped this week against the Giants. And Sam Reid, it would be surprising to see another game from him as well. As you can see here, my planned trades for round 17, Josh Dunkley for Clay Smith, who I reckon will have the remainder of the season on the field, and Ryan Davis out for Andrew Gaff, so a massive upgrade there, and I'll still have 49,000 left in the bank, and my team is on here. So pause the video now if you want to see my team around 17. That's just the players from each side. My overall projected score is 2371, which is pretty big. And this week, pause this video now if you want to see all the statistics from my players. But that's all of my team, all the projected scores. My projected score for this week is 2,349, which is what I'm hoping. Make sure you leave a like, subscribe if you enjoyed this video, and I'll see you when round 16 is complete. Peace out.